I'll give you $14,000 for those window frames right now. So, I just acquired my GT40 replica. And I've known one thing. If you don't go out and buy parts yourself, there's normally other parts in the background you manage to get hold of because you took the time out to go and buy them, right? So I was on eBay scrolling through, and I've got a Mark III GT40. And on eBay, there's a Mark III GT40 rear and front clam. And I'm kind of thinking mine's a bit rough. I could probably do with some of the parts of them. And there's some nice billet aluminium like vents and stuff that were on these parts that, you know, were irreplaceable. There's no way I could make them without having like CAD designs made, that kind of stuff. So it was a company called Head Turners, Total Head Turners in the UK, who sell a lot of GT40s and Cobras. And these panels were sat on a shed in a bit of a field, right? So I turn up and I had to get chains on my recovery truck to actually get me in the field and out the field because it was so muddy and waterlogged. It was ridiculous. So basically I had to go on an adventure to get these parts that have been in a field for 3 or 4 years. I turned up and you know what, the front glam's been cut in half because they used the rear parts, because on a GT40 they've got these big aluminium fuel caps on either side and they're embossed with like a casting number, and a lot of the early GT40 cars didn't have a very pretty cap surround on their mouldings. But these panels themselves apparently did, because they cut the rear of the hood off the car. Turns out to be quite special. So this car was actually known as a John Tejero car. And for people that don't know, John Tejero actually developed the AC Cobra back in the 60s, and a lot of his development went into the design and the build of the Cobra, and that's how he got very, very famous. As he got older, he started building a car called a Dax, which is a Cobra replica. I'm probably wrong, and someone out there is going to tell me I'm wrong, but put it in the comments below and I will say sorry at some point in my life. But he also had 3 very special cars, Mr. John Tejero. He had 3 GT40s. I believe it was a Mark I, a Mark II, and a Mark III. Well, when the film Ford versus Ferrari came out, what they did with one of these cars is they took the front and the rear clam off, rebodied it, and made it a Mark II for the movie Ford versus Ferrari. So I don't know if it was a press car, or if it was a replica, or what it was, but they basically destroyed a piece of history. The John Tejero GT40 is no longer. The Mark III is completely gone. You know, it's been metamorphosized into a horrible replica of another film car, and the original provenance of this car is gone. So not only me turning up to pick up these parts myself, even though I've got a job to do on a daily basis, turned out to me having this front and rear clam for one of the rarest GT40s built by one of the most amazing engineers of his time, I started getting chatting. I said, come on man, do you have any other parts available? Because straight away, I didn't know who John Tejero was. I didn't know how big he was in the realm, or what provenance he held in the Ford racing world. And he said, well, I've got a few other bits, but you know what? They're for my retirement. I don't really want to get rid of them. So what I do is, instead of just getting my parts and disappearing, I start showing some love. I start bringing my videographer there. We're filming what he does. I'm showing interest because he's got some amazing kit cars. He's got SL Goldwing Mercedes kit cars. He's got E-Type Jag replicas, D-Type Jag, C-Type Jag, XK120s. He's got every cool classic car of the 60s you've ever imagined, but in this massive eclectic warehouse. Cobras, GT40s, it's unbelievable. And after filming with him for 3 or 4 hours, it got to the point where he was like, do you know what, Sam? Let me show you what I've got. Because that's how you get on with these people. You show you're a nice person, you're going to spend some time with them. And he brought out this box, and it was like an old TV box. And I started undoing the packaging, right? It is the holy grail of Mark III GT40 parts in the world. If you're building a GT40 at home, you are the man that is very angry with me right now, okay? He opens this box, and all taped up is a set of original Mark III GT40 side windows, yeah? And basically the GT40 Mark III has a different style of window, because the Mark I and Mark II has a Plexan, or a plastic side window with these little vents that you unclip. On the Mark III, they're a stainless steel looking alloy window frame that actually pops out, so it gives you a proper bit of ventilation in your GT40 back in the Mark III. So I looked at them and he said, he said, to be honest with you, I paid £600, nearly $800 just having these chromed. And I was like, well, what do you want for them? He said, do you know what, Sam? I believe in your build. I believe in what you're doing. And if you bring back the car here when it's done, to take some photos in my workshop, you can have these for £400, right? $600. All my ducks have aligned in a row. Like every single part of this build has now been changed, okay? At first I was gonna build like a Mark 1, Mark 2 golf colored GT40. Now I'm going down the route of going for a Mark 3 GT40, right? Because that car, they only made 7 of them. The most famous one that we know of is in the Peterson Museum, which hopefully I can get out there and film at some point and get some real ideas for what I can do. But now I have the windows, which is the missing part. You can't just go online and buy these. They're like nowhere to be found. So I got back and I sent a picture to my friend in El Paso, Texas and said, hey, look at these window frames. And I took a picture like you'd expect of people wanting to see, like the shiny bits. He went, turn them over for me. I was like, okay. So I turned them over and took a photo and sent them to him. And he went, I'll give you $14,000 for those window frames right now. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean? He said, well, they're brass and they've been chromed and the welds are in a certain area and the brackets are exactly the same. I believe they are new old stock Mark III GT40 windows. And if that is a John Tejero car, I know that John Tejero built that car with real new old stock GT40 parts. So I found the holy grail of side windows for my project. So when they developed the Mark III GT40, most people think that the Mark 1, the Mark 2 and the Mark 3 are all the same. Okay, and I've had a crash course in looking like an idiot on the internet because basically in a Mark 1 and a Mark 2 GT40, let's just say I'm sat in the driver's seat, which is the right hand seat, okay, in the car. On a Mark 1 and a Mark 2 car, okay, the gear lever is over here. So, you know, it's on the right-hand side. So you have to step over the gear lever to get into the driver's seat, okay? On a Mark 3, they went a bit more, you know, standard and had the gear lever in the middle. So what you find on a Mark 1 and a Mark 2 GT40 that have been converted to a Mark 3, okay, is that the driver's seat is over here, yeah? That has now been moved over here. And the steering wheel is still over here, and the pedals are over here. So on my Mark III GT40, if I was ever going to drive it, I'd have the steering wheel here, the pedals over here, and me looking over here on the A-pillar. So basically what's happened is, they've got rid of like the space where the gear lever would be, moved the chair over, so that, you know, there's a smaller space for you to get in the car, giving you a big center console where the coolant hoses run through the middle, but now all my areas are misaligned. So my steering wheel's over, my pedals are over. The problem I'm having is the small details of this car that I need to make perfect. And the problem I have is the dashboard is incorrect. It was made for a KVA. So basically a KVA car, you know, the dash and the steering wheel and all the dials are over to one side. What I really need is the dimensions of how a real Mark III GT40 is and where the gauges and where all the switches need to be. The main part of the puzzle that I'm really struggling with is Boreani wheels, okay? Because this car would have had a triple laced Boreani steel wheel, not a single or a two lace wheel like an E-Type Jag. This car was developed on a race car chassis, so they had a very special wheel design. The Boreani wheels are like $3,000 to $4,000 a piece, not including hubs or the knockoffs. So that's kind of unattainable on a hard up garage build. So the route I was going to go down was E-Type Jag hubs, because you still get a nice wire look, but you're not going to get the provenance of a set of Boreani wheels. So if anyone out there has a set and they want to donate them to the cause, then I'm going to give you a cuddle. And I'm not going to charge you anything for it either. So other parts are missing. To be honest, seats are going to be one of the hardest things to replicate because the Mark III was a road car, not a race car. So a lot of the Mark 1 and Mark 2s, there's a lot of seats out there. Higher backrest, allowing you to have your head sort of touching the back of that seat and being safe and secure when you throw it down the track. But mine are a lot different. They have a lower headrest. They have a more fabric-based seat. And there are apparently a few people out there who make aluminium bases for the seats so that hopefully I can replicate them with a sheet bender and a bead roller and I can actually make them myself. But I think that's one of the most important parts of this build, is really going to the roots and showing the people at home how things can be done. I mean, my transmission is what they call a UN1 transmission. We're going to put 400 or 500 horsepower through it, which hopefully that'll be okay. But I don't think any project is complete without a whacking great limited slip diff so I can do donuts perfectly and leave 11s. Most people are saying, hey, send me your gearbox and I'll put a diff in it for you and charge you a certain amount of money. No, no, no. I bought myself a limited slip differential, an actual Quaife diff itself, and I'm going to pull that gearbox apart and repair it and try and fit it myself. Because if there's anything I've learned in my life, if you break it, try and fix it yourself, because either way, you've got to pay someone to do it in the end anyway, right?
Right now, I need all of you to click the link in the description below and visit Auto Tempest. Not only is it the best place to shop for your next car, but they're the ones that allow us to have so much fun doing Car Trek. I hope that you enjoyed Car Trek 8. We just released that on Freddie's channel, and now we're off to film 9 and 10. So seriously, we can't do it without you guys supporting Auto Tempest so they can keep supporting VINwiki and supporting Car Trek. It's honestly where I start most of my days because it allows me to search all the major listing sites at the same time. I find my cars faster, much more easily, and I find them in the nooks and crannies of the internet that I never would have found without Auto Tempest.